Hello, in this lecture you will learn how to set up the database email. Now the database email is used to send the alerts from the database, which we will look at in the next lecture. So to set up the email you need to go to the management, expand it, and then you can see this database mail. So you right click on that and you do this time configure database email, or rather mail here. And you can also see that you have the log, of course, and you have send test email. So once you have everything configured, you will be able to test that email. So let's go to configure and this manager. If you don't want to see it again, as usual, skip it, check that box, you won't see it again. Let's go to next, and here we have several options. So you will first of all need to set up a profile and then add an account to the profile. You can have obviously several profiles and several accounts. Now let's go to the first one, of course, and just to take a look, you can manage them, you can manage security, or you can view or change system parameters. So that's gonna be interesting in later. So let's go next with the first option, and here you just need to describe your profile. You don't actually need to describe, you just need to name it. So let's do test, let's say test profile, and here you need to add some SMTP accounts. Now if you don't know what that is, simply look it up in your knowledge base for your email provider. So whether you're using your own domain and some smaller provider, or you're using Gmail or Yahoo, they all do provide those tutorials, all that documentation, and also there you will find certain values that you will need. So let's now go into those values, and you click add, and I need new account I need here. And let's see, we have the account name we have, so you can call it whatever you want to. So let's do test account, and you can also add the description, which is usually quite useless, so you don't do that normally. And then you have the interesting part, so you have the outgoing mail server, SMTP. So you have obviously the email address, and then you have display name. You need the two of them, you don't need the reply email, and you also have your server name. So it will either be the domain name or whatever server name is listed in that description in that tutorial that I was talking about before. And then you have the port number, so you'll find that in the same place. And also the server may require an SSL connection. So you would check this box. If it doesn't, it doesn't. You don't check that box. And then you can connect with different kind of credentials. You can do anonymous, you can do basic, and you can do Windows. So Windows would be if you would be running your server, your email server on the same server, which obviously it is very unlikely. And then you usually use basic. You don't really use anonymous authentication, you usually use basic. So you enter some name, some username, so that's usually the email, and then you have your password or your credentials that you use to actually log into that email. Let's do test, just some random values. It doesn't actually verify any values here, so it doesn't really matter what you put in. So let's do tst at tst.tt. Let's try that. And also you need display name and then the server name. Let's say test local tst, like that. So you would normally have probably mail dot your domain dot your domain ending extension. So you have all that, and you click OK. Click OK, and hopefully all that works. But obviously you would enter your credentials, and again, well, where is that test option? So you would test it after you put everything in. Now let's click next. Let's click next. And I have a couple of profiles here already, so I'll just use the one I just created. So let's click on that, test profile. And you also have private profiles and all that. You don't really need to look into this too much. Just need the public profile, test profile, and that's fine. And then you go to next. As you can see, you have retry attempts, you have retry delay, you have maximum sizes, and what you cannot attach. So obviously you aren't allowed attaching exe files, that's executable, and some other files as well, which may harm the system, which may be a virus, so they usually aren't even allowed to be received. And then you have logging level, like that, so it's extended. And then you have normal and verbose. I would suggest using at the very least normal. The best is probably to use extended. And then obviously you have the maximum file size, which is kinda useful, kinda not useful. It may cause some errors if you set it too low. So now let's click finish. Let's click next rather, and now finish. Now finish. And it is created successfully. Everything is successful. So let's close that. And let's just go back to that email. Let's see what the other options are showing. So let's say you have view or change system parameters. So as you can see, we did set all that previously, but you could change that if you need it. Usually you don't need that. So let's get back, and then you can also manage database mail accounts. We won't get into the security part. So if you want to change something, you just go here, let's go next, and then you can view, change, or delete an existing account, or you can simply go to profile and change the profile. Obviously you can create a new one and a new account as well. If you go here, you see if I choose my test profile rather, I see all the information that I entered previously. So again, it is quite easy to do. You just have to have the right information. You just have to find it. And with that, we will conclude this lecture.